Hi. Hi. So it looks like there's someone here. Um, I'll give it a second and then I'll get started. So. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Just checking some of the audio and things like that out. Well, welcome. This is like our very first video on here, and I say our, but it's mine. And what it was gonna be was it was supposed to be humorous. I started it a while back, hoping to lighten the mood from what we're experiencing in the US right now. And obviously, that lightness is not happening. So, one of the first things I'd like to say is that I would like to extend my love and support to my Black adoptee friends. I can't even imagine what you're going through right now, because I know what I'm going through, and it doesn't have anything near the level of what you are going through right now. So I just want to say that I love you and I support you, and I'm here for you. Anyway, so I'll just go ahead and real quick, if you don't know me, my name is Rosita Gonzalez. Obviously, I do not look like a Rosita Gonzalez, and that's a very complicated thing. So we'll go ahead and just say, so I am Korean. I was adopted from Korea at a very young age, about 13 months, or so they say. We can't verify all of this. And then I was adopted by a woman from East Tennessee. And I grew up most of my time in the Appalachian Mountains. So I would consider myself hill folk. Now, if I go to Tennessee now, they're always like, you ain't from around here, are ya? Because of the way I look and because I have toned my accent down in order to, I guess, assimilate, to put out that persona that I am just your normal everyday gal. So I do that when I am outside of the South, let's say. So anywho, yeah, I was going to tell you a lot about growing up in the South. But recently this week, well, there's lots of things that have happened this week. Obviously, George Floyd died, and that has impacted so many lives. And hopefully, I'm hoping that what we see now is going to be a lot more activism, and that we mobilize politically to get someone out, because I think that's where a lot of this has started. He's giving people license to be ugly and hateful. But anyway, I digress. Actually, what I really want to say is I wanted to talk today a little bit about Huxley. And if you know anything about what's been going on in the adoptee realm, There is a woman. See, I don't even really want to say her name because I don't want to give her any more attention than anyone else would get. I feel like she's gotten a lot of attention. She's gotten so much attention that she gets, money from people. She got money from people to adopt Huxley from China. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video once it gets posted of an article written by a friend of mine, Grace, and she is a Chinese adoptee. She's also on this chat right now, so if you have any questions or statements or anything you'd like to say, certainly comment now. And I did say I might give her a call if there's interest. So obviously this news about Huxley being rehomed, and I'm sorry, yes, that is a word, spell check, because it's always trying to spell check that word. It is a word in my vocabulary, unfortunately, because it is an it is a gosh, I can't even think. It's a reality. It's something that has been happening for a very long time. So basically, when adoptees, and more specifically, international transracial adoptees, or international adoptees, because what happens is there is no oversight. There's no governmental oversight for us. So it is up to the adoptive parents to get our citizenship. And even though your child may have protection and get automatic citizenship because of the laws that have happened, I wouldn't necessarily rely on that. Because obviously we are also immigrants and we need to be naturalized. And if you have the money to bring us to this country, you have the money to apply for our citizenship. Now, having said all that, again, no oversight in children that come from different countries to this country as adoptees. And so what ends up happening is, if, like in Huxley's case, you become difficult or you have special needs, as he did or does, parents can go, this isn't working out for me, so I need to find somewhere else to put this child. And I liken this to people in this society who have the ability to make a lot of money off of something. For instance, like, from what I understand, she was posting pictures of his journey. And again, this is a child. He doesn't really have any say in any of this. Adoptees from other countries have no say in where they're going to go, who they're going to go to. And to be honest, I never really wanted to leave Korea. I don't believe I ever wanted to leave Korea. And I know this because biologically, I feel the most comfortable when I'm there. I also, the food seems to heal me when I'm there. And in the political climate we're in now, I don't feel comfortable in the United States anymore. But I liken what has happened to Huxley in terms of, like when you buy, let's say, you buy some flashy handbag, right? And you take pictures of it, you post it on Instagram, you let people know how much you like it, and then you realize it doesn't have a really good pocket for my cell phone. So I think I'm going to return it. And I think that is kind of what happened in this case. You know, there's a lot of things that adoptees struggle with. And those things that we struggle with often are not things that kids can verbalize well, right? So there's this kind of anxiety about being removed from a country that that you've known since birth, and then brought to a country where no one looks like you. It's very different. And if any of you have ever been abroad, you would know what that's like. When you go abroad and you see, you know, the way different countries do things, it's a little jarring at first. Now, if you're just a traveler and you know that you're going to go home soon, it's not a big deal. But imagine being put in a country that you did not choose to be there, and into a family, you didn't necessarily choose that either, right? And again, international adoptions are not cheap. They're expensive. You have to pay for our flights. You have to pay for our visas and things like that. So I really liken international adoption to human trafficking. It's an exchange of money for a person. And then in Huxley's case, when you don't live up to the full potential, you are let go. And the thing is then there's no money to send you back to your country. So let's do the underground thing of finding a family that might fit you better. Unless they plan to find a Chinese family who would love Huxley and they plan to fly back to China and help him find a good family, then, well, you know. So, anyway, I just had to get that off my chest, mainly because reading all of this, one of the things that I want to stress is just how stressful this is for anyone who is adopted, who isn't an adoptee, and especially a lot of adult adoptees, because we're constantly made to be children, and we're reminded that we don't fit in. We're reminded that, you know, our existence is dependent, right, on our behavior. So, you know, I was talking with Grace today about it, and basically she and I were talking about how both of us, and for me, I wanted to be perfect. I was so concerned with being a perfect person. And it didn't, and people reinforce that. So, teachers would say, "Oh, she's so good. She's so smart." And my parents would say, "Oh, well, it didn't come from us. It didn't come from us. Just look at her. Yeah, just look at me." Right? Because, oh, I must be great at math. Okay, secret, I was great at math, but whatever. I wasn't great at reading or writing, let's just say, back then. So, yeah, So, it meant that if I did well, I needed to keep doing well. Because if I didn't do well, then that meant I could be pushed off somewhere else, right? Now, I do want to go ahead and say, my adoptive family was wonderful, right? But we're not talking about me or my adopted family in that way. I am not targeting my adoptive parents. What I am saying is these sorts of issues and these sorts of things, when they come up in the media, it is like a gut punch for me. And I would almost think that it would be the same for some of my adoptee friends. And I have been off of the grid for a while. Part of that was because I was trying to come to terms with a lot of loss and knowing that I wouldn't be able to ever necessarily find my first family in Korea. So that was a lot to contend with. And honestly, I'm not so perfect anymore. I'm pretty crappy, actually. I'm not great. Let's just say, and I think my husband would attest to that. He would totally attest to that because he's seen me change a lot in the last 5 years since I started looking into my history. Because again, I was trying to be perfect. Can't always be perfect. I was trying to be perfect and it didn't work out so great. So let's see. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see anything coming up. So I'm hoping you're able to comment if you want, because otherwise, one of the things I wanted to do was give Grace a call and see if you guys had anything you wanted to ask her, because she has written a wonderful piece about adoption and about this particular instance. She's done a lot of research. Like I said, I'll put a link to it in the comments, or actually in the description of the video. And excuse me, but this is the first time I've ever done this, so just bear with me, okay? Old brain and all that. So let's see if we can get Grace on the phone. But again, I don't see any questions that anybody might have. So, hello. Looks like we have Grace here. Wait a minute. Okay. You're on.
Okay.
So we have Grace. Doesn't look like there's any questions, but we do have some people on the line. Did you have anything you wanted to add? I'm assuming you're one of the ones that has been watching.
I assume that as well.
If you get to know Grace and I, you're going to find out that we're like, I don't know. We're like siblings in a way because we do fight. Some people will liken us to a married couple sometimes. So
what about like a mother-daughter aunt?
Oh God, do I have to play the older role? I think you're
like double my age.
Oh, did you have to go there? Am I double? Gosh. Rude, let's just say. Anyway, did you have anything you wanted to add?
don't really think so. You touched on our conversation a little bit earlier about how perfectionism manifested with you, and I think that that's something that's pretty common in adoptees, and it's often driven by this fear of being reabandoned or relinquished again, even when people don't have the words or the visibility of a rehoming story.
Right. Well, so I do want to, I thought it would be good for you to kind of just briefly talk a little bit about the word rehome, because I know you cover that, and I thought you did an excellent job in that, and I thought it would be nice to kind of go over the term itself, because a lot of people, for some people on Twitter, it seems to be a word of contention.
Yes, it's also seems to be a new word for a lot of people on Twitter and who are outside of the adoption sphere and are looking at this story for the first time. There's a lot of comments about oh, she didn't rehome him, that's for dogs. But this is actually something that's been happening for quite a while. And the 2013 Reuters investigation, the child exchange, they estimate back in 2013 that some 24,000 international adoptees are no longer with their original adoptive parents.
Mm-hmm.
Adoptions can dissolve, which is post-placement, or they can be disrupted, which is pre-placement. And those are the official legal terms. And with a dissolved adoption, there can be agency involvement, and that's the more above board way to do it. Rehoming oftentimes refers to the underground internet involved Facebook, Craigslist group of that method of just posting your child online like a used handbag on eBay, and whoever bids first on the kid gets them. At this time, it's unclear what happened with Huxley. Myka Stauffer has said contradicting things. One post, she claimed that she and her husband handpicked his new parents, which kind of seems to be a more informal arrangement. Mm-hmm. But in another interview, she says that medical professionals and the adoption agency were involved. So I think that that's something that may or may not get cleared up in the future.
Yeah, I would like to know if there would be an agency that would step in and possibly check in and see where he is, and the what his state is right now and who he's with. Just some oversight in that placement.
And Myka claims that his new family is a lot more prepared to deal with his medical conditions. But I'm also thinking Myka Stauffer's background is in nursing. She was in the medical field. She should have known going in what all of the ramifications and potential things might occur with a child with special needs.
Yeah. Ugh. This has been a rough week.
It has been a rough week in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Grace. I appreciate it. And I'm going to sign off here at 25 minutes. And we're going, and again, I'll put Grace's article on the description. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope to see you again soon with something a little lighter.